And now, World Improv Network proudly presents Community Court.
When two parties cannot solve a dispute, community court is there to solve the problem. See?
All rise for the most honorable Jonathan Vicarro.
Hey, Cliff.
Yep.
I appreciate that.
Hey.
Called me actual, not even interim. You didn't call me almost honorable. You called me the Honorable Judge Kenneth.
You've earned that.
Oh, God.
Doing a lot of great work up there.
Well, thank you so much. You know, and I hope it wasn't just because all the bratwurst and Strohs and Schlitz that we've been drinking at the end of the day that's kind of changed your impression of me. Hopefully it is my work in the bench.
No, it's a real deep down man-on-man respect for you and the work that you do.
Well, thank you, Junior. I appreciate that compliment, too. I don't know if my brother would have said the same thing, but thank you so much. Maybe, you know what? What do you think about this, Cliff? I'm thinking about maybe adopting Junior from my brother. Is that a bad idea?
I mean, he's not around, so I wouldn't oppose it. But at the same time, if he ever comes back, there could be that could be a deep family problem that you might need to resolve in community court.
Okay, Junior. All right, we won't address it right now. Okay, maybe we should give it a couple more weeks on before we talk any further about that.
I mean, it's really a family issue.
It's a judgment call? Okay, well, thanks. I'll ask you again maybe later on, maybe over a couple beers. I don't know. I'm really taking to him, though. He's such a good kid. Well, we have a doozy today, as my brother would say, and this is really a doozy because you don't expect this to kind of happen. It's almost like a little bit of buyer remorse, perhaps. Not sure. We'll dig into this. We have an artist, a world-renowned artist named Pierre Garçon. And Mr. Pierre Garçon, you are suing Sir Stanley Whitaker, the owner of British Airways, for essentially he commissioned you to do some artwork, and he paid quite hefty for it, if I'm not understanding, $4.6 million.
Oui.
Yes. However, after the artwork was done, after 18 months, you decided not to be happy with it because you felt like you were bamboozled into doing some artwork that you really would not have been comfortable with to do in the outset, regardless of the money. Is that correct?
Oui.
Okay. Well, so what was it specifically that you were commissioned to do, and what did you ultimately end up doing? Or what were you sold to do, told to do, versus what you finally did over that 18-month stretch?
Yes. Well, Monsieur Whitaker, he gave me blueprints to follow. I work in metal. I work with fire, and it takes me a long time. And I'm following these plans with my own little flourishes here and there. And when I assemble it at the end, it was, shall we say, a very offensive image.
I'm not much of an architect, and I have never read a blueprint before, besides the woodworking stuff that I do.
And neither had I.
Yeah. But this blueprint specifically shows what I see. It looks almost like a mix between a UFO and a stealth aircraft. Is that correct? Is that what he had you originally commissioned to build?
I thought we were making a statement about the future of flight and our pursuit into the cosmos as a people. But in reality, it turned out to be the Wu Tang W.
Oh, as in Wu Tang Clan?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Interesting. So, Mr. Whitaker, or should I call you Sir Stanley Whitaker?
Sir.
Well, Sir Stanley Whitaker, you are the owner of British Airways, so I can see why you maybe want a piece of art commission that represents the future of space travel or airline travel. What was your original intention on this? I mean, this took 18 months, so I'm sure it kind of organically evolved along the way. But what was your original intention on what this was supposed to be, looking at the blueprints?
Well, originally I had thought that something of a flying object sort of form would have been the best fit to establish how our radio carries through the airwaves as it dances across the eardrums of all the UK.
So was this almost an homage to the old days of radio, or was it? Okay. And does it, in your mind, was the final product, the outcome of Mr. Garcon, does it actually look like the Wu Tang Clan logo, or does it look more similar to this blueprint that I'm staring at right here?
I would have to declare that it does look like a Wu Tang W, which is not really broadcast over our airwaves.
Interesting. And the payment structure, how did you pay Mr. Garcon this $4.6 million? Was it once? Was it front end half, back end second half, monthly installments?
Front end half.
And then the back end the other half.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was a little skeptical when I looked at his previous artwork and noticed that it all resembled the Wu-Tang W.
Interesting.
He promised to vary up his unique delivery for such a large task.
So you really had no intention on that. However, you also saw the tendencies of Mr. Garcon to always go to do a fallback, essentially, on the Wu-Tang logos.
Excuse me? It's not a fallback. The art passes through me. I make no judgment.
Okay. So are you saying, Mr. Garcon, that you had no intention, even based on your previous works? Because I hear in Exhibit B, it shows all of your previous works in the last 20 years, and I do have to say, I don't have a great art eye at all, so no offense to you, Mr. Garcon, but I do see...
Obviously.
I can see within this printout that I have that a lot of it does look like the Wu-Tang logo. Do you have inspiration besides the art that just travels through you? Do you get inspiration from, let's say, the Wu-Tang Clan itself?
I have listened to their albums, their philosophy. I always protect my neck, but that is anything else is incidental.
Interesting. So was there ever discussion along the way within this 18-month period that this image, this blueprint that I'm looking at right here, is going to morph into something that looks a little bit more similar to the final outcome, which is that big W Wu-Tang logo?
Yes. I had sent a file over to Mr. Garcon, and if you could see it, that's in Exhibit Y.
I can see that, yes.
And that was what he said he could do. And if you notice at the top it says, please do not make this a Wu-Tang symbol.
I can see that. And that was actually received. There's a receipt, email transmission receipt by you, Mr. Garcon, saying that you did receive this. And you actually did reply, and you said, oui. So I'm assuming that means, yes, you weren't going to make that a Wu-Tang Clan logo, correct?
Like I said, it's not intentional. It just happens.
It happens.
I'm sure that I intended to give Sir Whitaker what he wanted, but I can't help the art that passes through me.
That's interesting, and I can understand that too, because I have an art here for law, even though I'm a formerly trained carpenter, but now I've been up here for 4 weeks straight, and I can really see how I'm taken to this. But Mr. Whitaker, the answer that needs to be given to me is then why did you pay him the other half of the $4.6 million if you were disgusted and not happy with the final piece of artwork?
It was out of good faith. He had come along some hard times, and I thought it would be best and karmatically beneficial to help out a struggling artist that could be world famous by the time he's dead.
Okay, and where were you going to display this new piece of your artwork? Where was that going to be displayed?
I was hoping to do it in the Queen's living room.
Oh, okay. So you have a personal audience with the Queen. Oh, that's fantastic. Hey, next time you see her, can you get her to give me one of her hats and autograph it? Maybe I can give it to Junior, because I know he really likes hats.
Oh, I'd be happy to.
The pink one.
The pink one?
Yeah, the one she wore at Princess Di's wedding. Oh, okay.
All right. Might be a sensitive subject, but I'll broach it.
Well, I appreciate that. Mr. Whitaker, do you have a favorite Wu-Tang song by chance?
I'd have to say that I have not listened to a lot of their music, but I do enjoy the Gravel Pit. Or on their instrumental album, they've got a beautiful piece called Slow Blues and Lyrical Swords that are quite enjoyable if you prefer a strictly instrumental track.
Okay. Was there any discussion with the Wu Tang Clan at all about a product endorsement here? The reason why I asked this question is because I realized that preparing for this case, I've been watching a lot of British Airways commercials, looking at a lot of British Airways print ads, and I see that the Wu Tang Clan is in all your airline magazines, and that Slow Blues is actually the theme song of your most recent ad campaign. Is that just incidental, or was there any discussion with Wu Tang Clan that was going to be an endorsement arrangement?
That was more or less a product of what we needed to do after the artwork.
Oh, this is post artwork.
We had to kind of run with it, because after you put in a 700 square foot installation, it's hard to remove it. So we had to kind of go with the cards we were dealt and drink the lemons we squeezed, you know.
And such is art.
Oh,
Where art changes life,
Pierre.
you adapt to what you have been given. And
you've
you
been
see this.
given the same thing over and over.
How does the Queen take to this, W? Does she like it?
No, the Queen is not a fan, unfortunately. Well,
Mr. Garcon, that was a pretty big break, I would say, for you if you would have gotten the Queen's audience with this artwork. I'm not trying to make a judgment on your career, but
What do I care for the English Queen?
that's a good.
She can go sit on it.
Okay. Well, that's fine. That's for a different discussion. So, Mr. Garcon, you took the other half of the money willingly, though, and then you didn't file the grievance until 4 months after the fact. How is that has any relevance then to not liking the artwork that you were forced to commission if you took the second half of the money? Why did it take so long to file this complaint here in community court?
Well, I, there is
That's right.
so many things to do with money, and I was on some hard times.
you can't even think of it.
Mr. Garcon, is it not true that your house in southern France was in foreclosure at the time that you received the second half of your down payment?
Look, I was going through some hard times, and Monsieur Whitaker was so honorable with his payment. I would be rude to refuse.
All I asked is that he could recreate the design that we had agreed upon.
Yeah, I can see the blueprint here again.
Now he once paid for a whole new installation.
I try. I can't help what comes out of me. I have the soul of the art inside.
Mr. Garcon, what would it take technically to reconstruct this piece or to modify the current Wu Tang W to make it look more like this UFO/stealth fighter that we have here in this blueprint?
Just two things, money and time. Like, say, another $2 million.
No.
And, 2 million pounds. And
Yeah, we cannot afford.
well, then I cannot. The art has spoken.
Okay. Well, then, Mr. Whitaker, do you have any other solutions? For example, would you like to have him by chance commission another piece of art, maybe on a pro bono basis?
That, I could see the benefit of that.
Okay. And what would you like to have him do if I were to make that ruling?
I would stick with the original design of a UFO and an airplane.
And an airplane. Okay. Mr. Garcon, how are you looking right now financially after you made that payment on your foreclosed home with that $2.3 million that you received recently?
I am doing so. My home is safe for now. But I am taking an extended vacation in Monte Carlo.
Okay.
So I don't know how things will be after that.
Okay, so what had actually got you into foreclosure proceedings anyway? What were the financial hard times that you felt?
I attempted to, I successfully purchased the single one-off Wu-Tang album for $2 million. And, yeah, it was a bit out of my price range at the time.
Mm-hmm.
He said it was due to his lack of inspiration. He needed a new musical muse.
Okay.
Yes, I was financially and emotionally bereft.
I can understand that. As being a wood artist myself, I can understand that. Okay, so I want to bring a piece of information here that's going to help me with my ruling. Bailiff Cliff was behind the proceedings while this was going on, speaking to the Wu Tang Clan himself. And he informed me, right, Cliff, that they're willing to take that $2 million back and donate it to the Queen's Poodle Fund charity in England, in which case, if you were to do another piece of artwork for Sir Stanley Whittaker himself, the original blueprint that's sitting in front of me, would that be acceptable to you, Mr. Garcon?
Sure, but I make no guarantees of the art that flows through me. I simply channel the energy of the universe.
Okay. The Queen asks only one thing from Mr. Whittaker. I see this in the affidavit, that there will never be a statue of Napoleon or a replica of the Eiffel Tower in her living room. Mm-hmm. Again, she seems to have a little bit of animosity towards the French, as the French do towards the British. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to rule here today that Mr. Whittaker's artwork is going to be recommissioned to be done again. However, it's not going to be 18 months. Mr. Garcon, you have literally 8 months to do this. And after that, however, as long as it doesn't look like a Wu-Tang logo again, it will be sitting in the Queen's living room. Mm-hmm. And we'll also be able to take that $2 million at that point in time, give it to the Queen's Charitable Poodle Fund. Mm-hmm. So it seems to be a triple win situation here. And if there's no other information that you'd like to provide with me, that is going to be my ruling for today. Anything else, gentlemen?
Sounds great.
I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Handshake deal, please. Go ahead, reach over in the other aisle. I'd like to see the handshake deal. Good English-British relations here.
Protect your neck.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that will do it for Community Court, and stay tuned for Talking Points with Shabazz Davis next on the World Improv Network.
Listen to the Win podcast from the KZKO webpage or find their show streaming on YouTube. Stay tuned for Talking Points with Shabazz Davis.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back with another exciting segment for Win on KZKO The Vibe.